What's what's good? What's good, peeps? It's your guy Lord Walid coming at you with another reaction. This one has been requested to me by my guy Team Forward, and it's a reaction to one of the channels I'm subscribed to. It's none other than King Mike. He's a cool guy and all, and I agree with his takes on the video. I've been watching it before doing the reaction to it, and I agree with his points. He's one of the cool ones, much like TWRP, TW Booty Hunter, many other guys. He's one of the cool ones who actually has a good mindset for the business. Unlike the marked channels like you know who, the ones that have many more subscribers than all of us, yet you'll know exactly why, because they praise the mediocrity and kiss ass to other people. Instead of us, we're telling you the truth how it is. So without any further ado, let's get started with this reaction, shall we? Here we go.
What's good, world? It's your boy King Mike coming at you live and direct with a video, man. And earlier in the year, I had made a video talking about the Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon situation, right? And in that video, I said a few things, man. But ultimately, the conclusion that I was coming to was that Vince McMahon is a victim. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people ran with that, and they're like, how can he be a victim and all that? I don't understand what's going on. But
yes, you're absolutely right in that, Mike. I agree with you. Vince McMahon was a victim of his own doing. His sexual desires and all became his weakness. So other people who wanted to take him down would use that as a PR thing in order to stab him in the back. And we all know who did, who are a part of it. None other than the guys he'll mention later on. But add to them two imbeciles, Triple Fraud and Stephanie. Because Stephanie wanted the PR thing and everything's gotta be PR. And Noseman being, oh, it's all about me. How dare him ruin my black and gold. My black and gold was amazing, even though it was a money pit. Fuck you both, Noseman and Stephanie, anyway.
listening to Vince Russo, if you listen to Vince Russo and the video that he put out,
Another knowledgeable one who actually gets the business, Vince Russo. He's absolutely right. Listening to Vince Russo's content, you'll understand that Vince Russo has a good mindset. But no, Marx will say, why isn't he hired then? Because Vince Russo doesn't value the mediocrity that Marx do. He doesn't value people like the good pair, the ring and a half. I'm the best. I'm the best. You think Jay can beat me? Jay? That's all he knows how to say. He can't cut a promo to save his life. Or they value like the mediocrities, like let's say Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn. I'm a vagabond-looking degenerate who blocked me, by the way, as well as another cunt who blocked me for whatever reason. Fuck him anyway. It's not that I'm crying or anything about you, Wade Barrett. You can eat a dick. You piece of shit. Blocked me as well as all the TWRP and all the others. And yes, John Cena was right to defeat your jobber team back then. Your team sucked. And you sucked even more. How about that? Piece of shit. Anyhow.
earlier, then maybe y'all can kind of understand where I'm coming from. Because when you're a man of power and you have access to all this money, bro, like you're vulnerable. Like a lot of people think that when they see these big, rich, powerful, you know what I'm saying, men, billionaires and all this stuff, like they can't be touched and like can't nothing ever happen to them because they're basically untouchable. That's not true, man. They're vulnerable to women and they're vulnerable to cutthroat businessmen.
Valid point, Mike. I agree with you on that one as well. Which is I know it's a correlation to the previous one, but I agree with you 100%, Mike. You're actually a cool one. I said it before and I say it again. You, much like TWRP and all the good ones, are cool. As for TWRP, and thank you for the shout out and for mentioning me on the news. For the name, Bakshi, it's the name, my family's name. That's just a side note. And thank you very much for the shout out. Much love to you, NCJC. You're the best. Let's resume anyway.
Right? So in the video, a lot of people really couldn't understand. Some people did. I want to give people their credit. Some people understood what I was saying, but some people just couldn't grasp how could I come to the conclusion that that big, powerful Vince McMahon could be a victim. You know, and listening to Vince Russo, he's kind of talking about the same thing that I was talking about in that video. One of the points I was talking about in that video, because I also made the point that you know, these elites play dirty. They play dirty, bro. They don't just when they want you out of a position, they don't just come and just give me that position. This is mine.
Another valid point. Those elites will not hesitate to get their way. Prime examples were the COVID stuff and many other things. The recent assassination of Charlie Kirk. Sure, I don't know him on a personal level, but him preaching good values and all is a good thing. Unlike some degenerates and the Jews and the elites of way of thinking of dividing to conquer better. It's another good point, and hats off to you for that one as well, Mike. Let's carry on.
They kind of lullaby you to sleep, and then they just snatch everything away from you. You know what I'm saying? In your sleep, basically while you're caught off guard. And I'm starting to think that's what happened to Vince McMahon. I'm starting to think that I don't want to make it sound like we just got to call it what it is, bro. I'm starting to think that Mario Emanuel, Nick Khan, and The Rock stole WWE away from the McMahons, because they took like everybody that had anything to do with Vince McMahon, his children, his whatever you want to call them, the people that he confided in. You know what I'm saying? His moles, anybody that had anything to do with Vince, they're gonna be gone by 2025, right? So,
which is exactly what's happening right now. All the Vince guys are being jobbed out, only for the mediocre bums like your Cody Rhodeses, your Sami Zayns, your CM Punks, all those losers that doesn't have 1/10 of the talents of people like the Lesners, the Cenas, and all the Vince guys, Randy Orton as an example, all the Vince guys, no, they get jobbed out doing fuck all, while those mediocre schmucks get everything handed to them on a silver platter, which even pisses me off more about the case of CM Punk. And you know how I hate that son of a bitch, but look at it objectively. The guy commits what is called a job abandonment all those years ago, leaving while still on contract. So, of course, it was the only way to do to fire his bitch ass on his wedding day. Even he should have been sued for that one. I don't know how this laws work in the States, but in my country, he would have had a letter of a case of job abandonment and would have got fuck all. You'd be fired with fuck all for a job abandonment. Anyhow, years later, comes back, and now we're supposed to expect as if nothing happens, as if he's a good guy, while all those years he spent talking shit about the company that made him somewhat of a human being. Which is why I hate CM Punk, and I really enjoyed burying his jackwagon ass in the Sucks video. Probably his bipolar wife will get hers too. It all depends. She does something to piss me off or whatever. She's already getting on my nerves because I hate bipolars. I had to deal with a lot of them, so I understand exactly how they work. Anyhow, let's resume. And also, another thing I'd like to say before resuming is that Mike is actually a good one. And what saddens me is that channels like his, TWRPs, like all the good ones, are like doing all right, but not the way they should be. While you have channels that will prop up the in-ring and all this mediocrity, getting like 170,000 subs, 200,000 subs. Yet they're praising the mediocrity and with the most illogical takes that you'll have. Anyway.
Is it possible now? Don't get it twisted. I don't want people to get it twisted, bro. Because I also said in the video I made earlier this year that I believe it was a consensual thing between Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon.
Which makes sense because she's not a kid, in all honesty. And if you notice something about this case, isn't it weird? You'll see the same picture from God knows on it, whatever, and variant pictures of Mr. McMahon, but the same picture of the same lady. Doesn't it sound like a telltale sign that something's wrong? Or that it's a misconstrued thing? Use your brains, people. But no, those modern fans, anything to shit on Vince McMahon and praise triple fraud. Anyway.
I believe Janelle Grant knew exactly what she was signing up for. I believe she knew exactly what she was getting herself into, and she was willing to do all that. But when the situation blew up, you know what I'm saying, and people like FBI agents and, you know what I'm saying, investigators started to get involved in all this stuff, bro, and the situation got too hot, she instead of just saying like, yeah, I knew what I was doing, you know, I was with all this, like I wasn't forced to do anything, because if she would have said something like that, she would have walked away with like empty hands. She would have had nothing, bro. So in a way, you can't really blame her, right? So she plays the victim role, and with the NDAs, she gets her money, right? So she signed the NDAs, and okay, so this situation happens. She walk away with about $3 million over payments, right? So she's cool with that. Now the situation. This is where the situation gets tricky, because.
Which is a valid point once again. I agree with you on that one, Mike. She knew exactly what she was doing, and it was a consensual stuff, because it's not like a kid and you're forcing them. It was a mutual agreement between two adults wanting sex and other fantasies. I'm not defending it or saying it's okay, but they both agree to it, so she must deal with her choices. It's a typical thing that women will do. Just look at the TV reality shows. They're like instead of or like in modern society anyhow. They'll use like their good traits, whore themselves out or whatever. Be like Chad's Muse and with all the plastic surgery, looking like a modded Honda Civic. And then later on, we'll pretend to be the victim. Oh, society this. Oh, society that. Ah. The usual stuff. And it's all, in my opinion, blamed to TV reality, Turkish emission, Turkish TV shows, like the ones that will show you like a Foy, the 4 out of 10, getting someone that's way beyond her in real life. And she has the ego to tell him go fuck off or whatever. When in reality, that guy wouldn't even look at her. Anyway, good point as well, Mike. Let's resume.
When WWE sold and they merged and they became TKO, right? And Ariel Emanuel became like the head guy in charge. You know, it was cool for a little while, because you gotta let Vince think that, oh, everything's cool, don't worry about it. And at some point, they took that knife out and they put that knife in Vince McMahon's back, and they cut Vince McMahon's throat, and then they kicked him off and they kicked him overboard. Because the reason I say that, because at some point, Ariel Emanuel made the decision to stop paying out the NDAs.
Which makes sense and is a valid point. Those types of scumbags wouldn't hesitate to use things that would benefit them, and you're seeing the proof right now with them. We're selling that, yet the hypercharged prices for low quality shows, which is why nobody watches anymore. But you'll have marks saying stupid things like, it's the best product. It's the best it's ever been. Yeah, is that why SmackDown is doing 1 point something million views? Is that why it got kicked out of Fox? Oh, let me guess. Raw, is that why under a week it gets like 2 point something millions when it used to have the same numbers on USA Network? Ha ha ha. The day of, mind you, not the span of a week. Anyway, you're absolutely right on that one too, Mike. I agree.
At some point in time, and if you go down the timeline, I'm pretty sure we can pinpoint exactly when he decided to stop paying. But he's the head of TKO, so he made the decision not to continue with the NDAs, right? And once that decision was made, no, Janelle Grant was like, her payment stopped, and she was like, what the hell's going on? You know what I'm saying? I need my money, right? So now this opens up the door for the lawsuit, and while you open up the door for the lawsuit, what happens is you put all of that private information out to the public. Now, Vince McMahon's public reputation is forever stained. It's forever stained. Like, even if Vince was to somehow, some way beat all of these cases, if this shit wasn't real and somehow, some way all of this shit turned out in Vince's favor, he will never recover because his image in the public eye it's fucked. That's the best way to put it. You can't sugarcoat it or nothing. His image is completely ruined, right? And something tells me that a lot of this stuff is true. A lot of that stuff that she put in that lawsuit is true. But people are gonna look at it like Vince forced this lady to do all this stuff, man. But what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking it was a two-way street. I think it was a mutual thing. But
a valid argument as well. Because if someone knows exactly what he's getting himself into, why would he play the victim if he isn't getting an interest out of it? A valid point. And it's been typical of women to use that card. It's always been since the dawn of time. Women have always been known to use that trap. I know what some people would say, but Willie, you're misogynist. You hate women and all. No. I don't hate women's at all. I'll be fair. I'll call a spade a spade. I'll be fair as much as possible. But it's always been known. Notice it through TV, through real life, whatever. It's always been the case. Women have always been known to be manipulative in order to get their ways. It's not a lie. It's a fact of life. Anyway, let's continue.
The way it's put out in the public eye, it make Vince look completely horrible. Completely horrible. So could this all be a play by Nick Khan, Ariel Emanuel, and The Rock to lowball
Very good
Vince McMahon,
Mike,
out of the WWE? Because if you really think about what the WWE can turn into, if you really think about what the WWE can profit, especially with it being merged with the UFC and all this stuff, man, like that's big money for real. You know what I'm saying? And if they got it, because let me see, what was the deal, like $9 billion or something like that? If they got it for $9 billion, they gonna make that back quick. That's peanuts to them cats, man. A person like, look, these three put together, Nick Khan, Ariel Emanuel, and The Rock. So when I say Vince is a victim, what I mean by that is, I think at the end of the day, bottom line, Vince was a victim of himself.
Another valid point as well, which correlates with the previous thing that you said, Mike, earlier on, which proves that you too are one of the smart ones. Hats off to you, sir.
Because if you never allow, and you know, we seen a lot of this shit bleed off onto TV, bro. We've heard the stories and all this stuff, bro. But if you never allow yourself to get that corrupted, then they really couldn't have touched you. You could have really been the man. Like, you really could have been but sex was Vince McMahon's downfall, bro. And the crazy thing is, it's not just him. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a bad way. You think The Rock ain't busting something down? Let's.
Very logical point, because it's always been known to be one of the cheating, and all those cases have always been known to be an unforgettable sin, and a sin that you should not do. Whether you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, or whatever, it's forbidden through all the religions. And it's forbidden for both sides, for the men and for the women. I know it's a indirect shot at Andrew when he said about when he converted as a Muslim. Emery, being a smart person that you are, you should know that cheating is forbidden for both sides. If you read exactly the Quran. Anyway, let's continue.
Be real. Do you think that The Rock is only being faithful to his one wife?
Absolutely not. And I agree with you, Mike.
It's hard for me to believe that, bro. But it's when you start. I guess when you piss off the wrong people, bro, they use that shit against you, man. And when I say Vince is a victim, that's what I mean, man. That's what I'm saying, bro. Vince is a victim, basically of his own doing. One, and he's a victim because he trusted these people, and this is all alleged. We don't know, bro. Maybe Nick Khan stopped paying. Not my bad. Maybe Ariel Emanuel stopped paying the NDAs because they know something. Maybe they're like, oh man, we ain't no reason to keep paying this woman. She already broke the contract. You know what I'm saying? Why are we steady paying her? And she broke the contract, bro. She already broke the NDA. Somebody already came out. One of her friends came out and leaked the story. Why do I gotta continue to give this woman money? Nah, man, don't pay that. Don't pay her.
A valid point. In cases, let's say you expose the flagrant lie, so obviously the opposite side will come up with some bullshit in order to drag this out. It's always been known in courts of law. Whether you have like cases of, let's say, you got a case of abusive firing at your job, and let's say the employer doesn't want to acknowledge that he fired you in an abusive way, he'll make up some bullshit like using your signature in some document or whatever in order to drag it out. It's always been known by those comebacks to do such things. Anyway,
it might be a two-way play. Shit, it might be, you know what I'm saying? A two-way play, man. Like shit, he could save money by not paying Janelle Grant, and he get Vince McMahon out the way. Two birds, one stone.
Good analysis, Mike. That's a very plausible hypothesis. Hats off to you, my guy.
All he gotta do is say, I'm not paying no more. And then that forces Janelle Grant to come out and say, hey, where's my money? You know what I'm saying? Oh, Vince, you owe me some money. You know, but it's possible. I was gonna say that maybe, but I don't see why because she's suing the WWE too, so I don't see why he would put himself in hot water. But shit, man, if he didn't own the WWE at that point, he could probably easily maneuver his way out of there. Like I took over at this point. All of the investigation was still going on, and he could probably easily slither his way out of that, man. But it's crazy when you really break it down and really start to look at it, bro. Like it's very, very possible that Vince McMahon could have got snaked out of the WWE. Like
a very good possibility, yes. Which correlates to all the smart ones, and all my subs, you guys are smart, as well as all the TWRP community, King Mike subs, the haters, and many others, the cool ones. You guys are smart, and you understand those things. Not like those imbecile marks who will defend people like their Cody Rhodeses, their CM Punks, and all those losers. They'll be like, he's a nice guy, he's changed and whatever. No, he hasn't changed. Someone who commits a job abandonment, shit talks a company, comes back to it years later, and expect the world to be given to him. That's the definition of insanity. Look at it objectively. Anyway.
This man probably found himself in a situation where it was like, man, I done really screwed up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then this angel comes along named Nick Khan. And Nick Khan's like, hey, I got the solution for you, man. You could do this, you could do that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We'll do this. And it looks like everything's good. But slowly but surely, Nick Khan is putting his people in position. Nick Khan is just sitting back in the background, just putting his people in a position. And then when the time came right, he put the hammer down, and then Ario Emanuel came in, and then they merged the company.
A very good hypothesis, knowing how those greedy persons would work. They don't care about links or whatever. They don't care about anything, those elites. Only thing they care is about themselves. Like, let's say they wouldn't hesitate to stab a brother or like a family member or whatever. They wouldn't hesitate to kill them if it means they get their interest. Which is a good hypothesis and something that any of us would understand. Anyway.
And then they waited, and they said, you know what? Now let's get rid of the head honcho. Let's get rid of Vince. Because it's over. Vince McMahon is never coming back to the WWE. It's like I say, bro, his public image is ruined. It's over, bro. Like, even if somehow, some way, all of this stuff comes out, like, if he comes out smelling like roses, if it comes out that Janelle Grant lied about everything, and they could prove it, and it turns out like that, and everybody's like, oh, well, and it's a consensual agreement that Janelle Grant lied and Vince McMahon didn't do anything wrong, he would still look bad. He would still look bad, bro. And then too, I think this just might be the tip of the iceberg, because if he stopped paying Janelle Grant, there was 3 more NDAs that came out. What's gonna stop them women from coming out if Ario Emanuel's not paying those NDAs too? But if he's paying those NDAs, but he's not paying Janelle's, then that should tell us something right there too. Because if he's paying off the rest of the NDAs, the reason why he stopped paying Janelle's is because she broke the NDA, which turns out to work in Ario Emanuel's favor, because it gets rid of Vince, you know what I'm saying, and it saves him money, and he can always tell Vince, like, hey, I didn't mean to screw you over. I wasn't trying to screw you over, buddy. It's just that she broke the NDA, and
a valid point. Those people will come off as the victims, let's say, when they screw you over, and you'll get your comeuppance. They'll be like, ah, man, I didn't mean to screw you. No. It's the usual thing. You'll notice how those pieces of shit work. It's like, let's say you were to buy, I'll give you an example. Let's say you were to buy a car at an auction. Let's say the car had some repairs that needed to be done, but the guy didn't warn you about. And let's say you figure out things later. You figure out by checking at the mechanics, and he'll tell you, like, let's say you have a steering rack that needed to change, or like a suspension that is completely fucked up or whatever. Something that in the front train, anyway. Or the car is not fit to be sold under that circumstance or whatever. They'll come up with some stupid shit like, oh, no, blah, 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 blah. He'll try to gaslight you in a way. It's just a common thing. Anyway, let's continue with this. Before that, I forgot. About the Vince not coming back, here's something I would disagree. Vince would come back, but not directly as he once was. Maybe through Shane. But with the Saudis deal and all recently, it's a proper way, because the Saudis like the way Vince thinks, and they want stars. They don't want jobbers the way Triple Fraud does. And the way of shoving like mediocre talents down our throats. The Saudis would want like feminine ladies to look feminine and the dudes to look masculine. Not like effeminate cucks and masculine transvestite. Anyway, let's continue.
Like, why do we got to continue to pay her? You know, he can always play that role, you know what I'm saying? But it is an interesting story, and Vince Russo is right. I don't hear too many people talking about that side of the coin, but you know that is an interesting story when you.
Yes, which is a valid point, Mike. Only those morons, those modern day fans, will only talk the arguments that benefits their interest. Let's say they're sheeps. They don't have any independent thought, even though God gave us all a brain to reason and to see, analyze things, and you see something fishy, you'd say, oh, something doesn't add up here. Something's clearly wrong. But no, they'll feed out to the lies being fed to them. A prime example of lies is that now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that Cody Rhodes, ever since he came back to WWE, he's like, oh, this massive deal. Even though we remember him 10 years ago being a massive jobber at Stardust. And before that, we remember him being the, what was it, Pedo Stash, I believe? Pedo Stash Cody, I believe? Yes, Pedo Stash. Before that, I believe it was the dashing, undashing thing. And undashing was his best work, yet that big nose, that idiot still manages to fail it. And before that, he was like a tag team jobber. So, why am I supposed to believe that all of a sudden, because Cody went blonde, as if he became a Super Saiyan, or a Super Saiyan 2 anyhow, prostituted his father's name in order to get what he wanted, now all of a sudden I'm supposed to believe that Cody is Brock Lesnar? The fuck out of here with that bullshit. Anyway, let's resume with what Mike is saying.
Start to look at it, man, because a lot of people are just under the impression that Vince is paying these people, but it's not Vince. It's TKO. TKO is paying off these NDAs, and they're paying them because when they took over the company, once they merged, they took on that burden too, you know what I'm saying? So maybe they,
which is a smart hypothesis, in order to make themselves look like the good ones and make Mr. McMahon look like he's the bad person. And in a way, later on it showed out that these people, they don't care about anyone, only themselves.
just saw some. I'm starting to think. The more and more I'm starting to think about that, because Janelle seemed to be the only one who came out, right? And there is a story where one of Janelle's friends coming out and telling the whole story, right? Telling everything basically that's in the lawsuit right now. So what I'm thinking is, this is what I'm thinking is gonna happen, man. I'm thinking that Ariel Emanuel found her out. He found her out. He was like, she already broke the clause. Ain't no reason for me to continue to pay this woman. You know what I'm saying? Janelle is like, but I need my money. This happened to me. I'm going to file a lawsuit, right? So she filed a lawsuit. And what I'm thinking is going to happen is, seriously, I'm thinking it's going to come to, they're going to find out what happened with the friend. And they're going to come to the conclusion that the NDA was broke and that they don't owe Janelle Grant no more money. But the damage is already done. The damage is already done. So I'm thinking it was a two-way play, man, by Ariel Emanuel. Like, all right, let's stop paying this NDA, and when we stop paying it, it's gonna force her to bring out the lawsuit. And when she come out with the lawsuit, it's gonna make Vince McMahon look so horrible in the public eye that he's gonna be forced to resign. He's gonna be forced to get up out of here. We'll erase anything that has anything to do with Vince, including Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes, Triple H. Triple H is gone, by the way.
Yes, Triple H is, in a way, an imbecile that didn't see it long term. He's like, I got the power, I get the power back. But they're gonna fuck you over, and you'll be like, crying like a little bitch. Like a little nosy that you are. I'm not calling him a doggy, because doggies are better than him. At least they're loyal.
Triple H is out of there, bro. And if you don't know, that press conference told you everything you needed to know. When at the end, when they was backstage and fucking Rock and Triple H had that interaction, look at the power dynamic. Look at it. You could see the Rock standing in his power. The Rock is standing like, I'm the boss. And Triple H is standing like, yeah, whatever you want to do, man. You know, it's like.
Yes, it was even shown at the press conference where like The Rock slapped Cody and all, and it was also shown later on in the WrestleMania that year. When The Rock's plan, I believe he said that he wanted John Cena to remain as a babyface, and have like Cody be the heel or whatever, which would have made more sense because John Cena's heel turn has been an absolute flop. Because in all honesty, John Cena is better as a babyface. Sure, I may come off as a John Cena fanboy. In a way, I've always been loyal to Cena's team, and I'll proudly say it. I'm not ashamed of it. Because John Cena, in a way, his catchphrases, the hustle, loyalty, respect, never give up, weren't just catchphrases, mind you. These were things that actually helped me, in a way, in a lot of things in my life. Which is why, as a thank you to you, John Cena, on your final match, the awesome will be done on you. And I'll mention you on Twitter. Because you deserve this awesome, John. Thank you very much for all your years. Unfortunately, Triple Fraud, being the imbecile that he is, ruined everything. Fuck you, Noseman.
You can see it in their body language. You can see it in their body language. Triple H did not look confident at all. He knows what's on the wall. And if I was Triple H, seriously, if I was Triple H, you made enough money. Your legacy is there, bro. I'd have resigned. After WrestleMania.
Yes, if Triple H had 1 ounce of dignity and self-respect, which he doesn't, much like that cocksucker CM Punk, have no self-respect and no honor. Good point, Mike. I know you didn't mention CM Punk, but I mentioned him as well, as another case of someone that has no self-respect and no dignity. Same thing as that cockster Cody Rhodes. Anyhow, on the pay-per-view, whatever that snooze fest that's gonna happen, if Cody wins, I'll bury his bitch ass with a sucks. It's coming your way, Cody, don't worry. Oh boy. And I'm gonna be enjoying roasting your bitch ass, lisping queen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to just up and just quit and just leave like right now. I'll let WrestleMania play out, and after WrestleMania, I'll resign. I'll walk away on my own power, bro, because if these people fire you, which they're going to end up doing, they're going to end up firing you.
Yes, they'll end up because of record low ratings, you being an absolute incompetent, nonsensical booking, the sellouts and all, etc. While all those greedy bastards care about is filling their pockets, draining this company, move on to something else, drain it even more, and anyhow, benefiting their interests.
And if they do that, you're gonna look bad, bro. So I would take the route that your wife took, and I would just resign.
Which in a way, Stephanie is smart for that one, but she's also a piece of shit for agreeing to stab her father in the back. I'll agree with her for resigning and the thing of the VPN stuff and all. I agree with her for that one. But Stephanie, you've also fucked up by turning on your dad. You can say, yeah, that's messed up and all, but saying as long as there's nothing proved, I cannot agree to side against my dad. Give me a valid proof. Much like John Cena did when he stood up for Vince McMahon. Hats off to you for that one as well, John. At least you're not one of those hypocrites that will bite the hands that feeds them. Which is why I've always respected you, John, and I've always appreciated you, in all honesty. Not the Cody Rhodes way. Appreciate as a good example of a consummate professional. Which is why you'll get your awesome as a gift. As a thank you, Cena.
I would just resign and walk away from all this because you know what's coming. You know what's coming, bro. But the more and more you look at this situation, bro, like I don't want people to get it twisted. Vince did a lot of this shit to himself. Vince did a lot of this shit to himself, bro. Because I do believe that the power corrupted him, and he really felt like he was untouchable. He could do whatever he wanted to do. And don't get it twisted. I don't think that.
Which is smart, because sometimes when you have too much power, it goes through your head. You'll have like delusions of grandeur and you'll forget the most essential things in life. Which is a good, valuable lesson and a good point that you've illustrated again, Mike. I agree with you on that one as well.
that he forced a lot of these women to do a lot of these things. I think a lot of these women did a lot of this shit on their own.
Valid point.
I really think that. And I'm gonna say this, and it might sound a little controversial, but women will lie. When shit hit the fan, that's why the phrase is be a man. You know what I'm saying? When shit hit the fan and you gotta stand in it and you gotta tell the truth and you gotta own it, it's called being a man.
Good one as well, Mike.
Because that's what men do. Men will take responsibility. A woman will shift responsibility. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. And if you think I'm lying, and if you think I'm lying, go back and read the book of Genesis and you tell me, what did the first woman do?
You're not lying, Mike. You're 100% right. That book is an example. Other examples, like in the everyday's life, TV reality shows, like let's say The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless, and many other shows of that caliber. It will always be shown that way, and you're a smart one as for that one as well.
When it was time to take accountability, what did the first woman ever do? Know what I'm saying? Instead of her saying, "Oh, my bad, God," you know what I'm saying? I know you said not to eat from this tree, but I did it anyway, you know. I'm sorry. She say, no, he made me. It's your boy King Mike. And I'm going to sign up.
Overall, in this reaction, I agree with all of his takes. He's making valid points and valid hypotheses. Because in all honesty, it's always been known to pretend to be... Women have always been known to use the trickery and manipulation in order to seem like the victims, to benefit their interests, as well as greedy persons, in order to take you out as a competition, will do anything in their powers, using any ounce they can get. And overall, I recommend most people to check on his stuff, TWRPs, as well as yours truly, for opening up and seeing the light exactly as it is. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it like, comments, and subscribe, and help this channel grow a lot more. We need to grow in order to expand, you know what I'm saying? So we'll expand on other topics, don't worry. We'll expand on reactions, as I said. We'll expand on gameplays. We'll expect on reviews of things like what if scenarios. We'll on motivational advices. Any topic you'd like, we'll expand on those with pleasure. But for that, we need to help the channel grow, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, see you next time. Peace out.